the potential leaps in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, and that is well and truly on track, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely well and truly on track. And for JK, 24 points, 4 assists, couple of block shots, 8 for 14 from the floor, 4 for 8 from 3-point range. Led the team in scoring, but the most impressive aspect of his game, the rebounding. I think every Warrior fan, and particularly the coaching staff, particularly Steve Kerr, particularly last season, but going back even to his rookie year, we're really looking for him as a rebounder to use his athleticism to sky high on the glass and get boards. And unfortunately, it hasn't been a factor in his game throughout the first 2 seasons, but it was really impressive in this game tonight. 8 boards, as I said. He was dynamic across the court. I really like the fact that he was often, coming back to collect boards after, putting up an arm to defend a shot out on the perimeter or whatever, instead of necessarily looking to streak out on the break, which I think he's primarily been doing in his first couple of seasons. He's been looking to, how can I get an easy basket on the other end, which is, fine to a degree. And we've seen some fantastic, exhilarating dunks by doing that. But the Warriors, given they're a smaller team, are going to need JK to actually come back and collect boards. And I thought he did that on a couple of occasions. Early in the game, he had one where he came back, collected the board, then threw an outlet pass to Brandon Pajemski, who finished with a really crafty Euro step layup. Thought that was really impressive. And JK overall, I mean, he just makes such a difference to what this Warrior team could be this season. His rise, because he's the player on the roster with the most talent, who's got the most realistic opportunity to take a major jump. Now, I'll talk about Moses Moody in a second. He was fantastic, but I don't think Moses Moody's all of a sudden going to be a really strong two-way presence where other teams are really having to scout for him come playoff time. I think Jonathan Kuminga has that ability where he could all of a sudden become a 25 plus minute per game player, a guy that come playoff time can play 20 to 25 minutes as well. And so, former 7th overall pick, the kind of athleticism and two-way talent that he has, he's ready to take a jump here. And I think this game, this preseason opener against the Lakers, was a really great start to making that happen, really. And particularly the rebounding, as I said. The shooting is a weird part for me, if I'm being honest, because he shot 4 for 8 from deep, and it shouldn't necessarily be a surprise because he shot 37% from deep last season. I just still think that Steve, after the game, is going to be looking at him and thinking, am I sure that... Sorry, my dog's absolutely going off in the outside here. But anyway, I'm not sure that he's, necessarily, Steve Kerr is necessarily going to be looking at the box score thinking, I really want Jonathan Kuminga to be taking 8 3-point attempts. And I think opposition teams will still want that to happen throughout games, throughout the regular season. I think they're going to want Jonathan Kuminga shooting the ball from deep as much as they can. And I'm still, he steps into them and he steps into them confidently. There's little doubt about that. But I still think at times there are moments where it's like, hey, just blow by your defender. You've got the speed, you've got the athleticism, you've got the size to power through and get to the rim. He had one in the third quarter where it was it was a set shot, and he waited and waited to the point where Christian Wood actually got out to him and blocked his 3-point attempt. And I think Fitz on the broadcast or someone said that, hey, that's a blow by. If Christian Wood's going to come out to you like that, that's a blow by and get to the rim rather than settle for the 3-point attempt, which eventually gets blocked. But aside from that, JK, you couldn't have been more excited